So this is actually the second time that I've opted to use this little video clip, mainly because one, I watch a lot of his stuff and I enjoy it. So credit where credit is due, I guess. But also, I guess I'm just sometimes a little annoyed when, in fact, I'm looking at the wrong camera. Should be looking right there. I'm a little annoyed when Apple gets all these accolades and it's like nothing you're doing is groundbreaking or revolutionary. And I guess I should refrain. It's not that it's nothing, but a lot of what they get praised for, it's like your Android competitors have been doing this for a long time, but yeah, it wasn't as mainstream because Apple wasn't doing it. So with the iPhone 16 that's slated to release later this year, we're going to get another button. Last year with the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, we got the action button instead of the mute switch. With the iPhone 16s, all of them, according to John and their reporting, all four iPhone 16 should be getting a capture button. And let's hear what he has to say about it.
We just got some brand new information on one of the iPhone 16's killer new features, the capture button, which is a feature or a thing that we have known about for some months now. Ever since iPhone 16 stuff started to leak, we've been hearing that the entire lineup from base model iPhone 16 up to the Pro units are all getting this capture button. What have we known about it? Well, that it's gonna capture something. But capture what? The Pokemon? Small mammals? I don't know. Maybe some photo and video? Gonna go with the last one. Back in December, Bloomberg's Hobbit turned Apple analyst, Mark Gurman, confirmed just that the capture button is for video. Wow, so brave. I would have never guessed. Okay, great. You're all caught up. Perfect. Congratulations. You know what it's gonna capture, but we have some new information that tells us how the capture button is going to, capture. This information comes from The Information. Like, that's literally the name of the... Okay. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, this website, The Information, incredible. We don't have to go over their whole track record. I will just tell you, these people basically not ever wrong. In fact, they were the first to actually show us Vision Pro years ago. So if anyone actually has The Information... it's The Information. Info, that's my nickname for them now, I just made that up, tells us that the capture button will actually be mechanical, not capacitive like all the leaks have been saying since forever. But they say it will still have the technology that makes it able to respond to pressure and different types of touch. For instance, Info tells us that users will be able to zoom in and out by swiping left or right on top of the capture button itself. It could also tell the camera to focus by pressing lightly, and actually start a recording by really giving the button to business and pressing it down with the force of God. As a lot as that sounds, as complicated as that sounds, we're still expecting the capture button to be across the whole lineup. iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus, iPhone 16 Pro, iPhone 16 Pro Max, Ultra, which on all units will have this capture button placed below the lower lock-unlocky button on the right side, kind of where the weird little millimeter wave antenna is, which will be moved to the other side now. Okay, so first of all, other than just being another button for us to accidentally press, I actually think this is a good idea. I think this is cool.
All right, now I'm not going to play the rest of the video, but as you saw from the title, he believes that this is the beginning of the end of iPhone, mainly because as Vision Pro is slated to come out in the coming weeks, Apple has decided to make changes to the iPhone to help better serve Vision Pro owners, as if Vision Pro is going to become the main driving force for Apple. And maybe not specifically Vision Pro, but mixed reality is what he says. And, you know, I can't confirm, deny anything. I'm not really sure even how I feel about it because, yeah, even though I wear glasses, as you can see, what I like to have, you know, an always-on display or excuse me, a heads-up display all the time. I guess you could turn it. So, I don't know. But the point of me making this video is to, yes, take some of what he has on his page and from the concept developers, and once again point out the fact that regardless of what happens in the next 10 or so years, because that's the timeline he gives, maybe in 10 years, mixed reality will be, mainstream. Regardless of what happens in 10 years, one thing we can say for the past, let's say at least 10 years, that Apple has really praised how good their cameras were for the time that they came out. So obviously today, I'm not going to rant and rave about an iPhone 5, but the iPhone 15 camera, yeah, it's pretty good. Like I have no gripes really with the camera that's on Apple's latest device. So what am I saying? So for a company like Apple to spend sometimes close to half of their keynotes talking about how good the camera is for that particular year, one thing that's happening now with the release of the iPhone 16 later this year is a quick access button to the camera. Now, if I were in charge of a company or even worked at a company where we touted how good the camera is that's attached to our phone, so much so that we may now say that it's a phone attached to a camera, I would think that it would be a good idea to have a good, quick way to easily access the camera. So yes, on the iPhone, if it's unlocked, yeah, you can swipe down and there you go. You have the little camera right there. You can tap it and it can open. If your phone is locked, you can easily swipe from the corner right there. Both of those, in my opinion, work fine. They are ways for you to access the camera. However, when it comes to Android, and yeah, like what else is there to compare it to? Nothing, because we only have two choices. There are a variety of different ways to access a camera depending on who your device manufacturer is. Now, right here, I have this ZenFone 9 and I have a ZenFone 10 over there. This method that I'm going to show is probably the most common one, where you have your power button over here and you just double tap it. So I'm going to double tap. Oh, need to put my pen in. And now the camera is open. Okay, and even with having to put my pen in, it was still relatively fast. And the only reason I had to put my pen in was because I'm not using the default camera app. If I were using the default camera app, it opens automatically. And then, of course, when the phone is unlocked, double tap, and it opens automatically without a prompt to input my PIN. So that by far is the most common quick way where you take your phone out of your pocket, quickly double tap, and now you're in the camera, as you can see right there. So super fast. Another benefit of having a physical fingerprint reader is the fact that that fingerprint reader is embedded in the power button, and that power button's double tap or double press is what opens the camera. When you do it quickly, like right now, I'm just gonna tap, boop, boop, and it's open because it did register my fingerprint while I was resting my finger on there ever so briefly. So again, to do it again, thumb is off, thumb is on, double tap, camera app is open. Now, the other way, and I'll bring this up because yes, it's Sony, and this is what is more aligned with what is happening now with the iPhone 16, a dedicated button. Let's see if we can get a good view of it. It's right where my glasses are, so maybe if I do that, I can't see it. And even right here, it's kind of hard to see. But it is right here. We have the power button here, we have a volume rocker here, and we have a shutter button right here. So I'm going to press and hold that, and the camera opens, okay? And one of the other things he was mentioning is the fact that if you short press, let's get a good focus of my face right there. If you short press, it focuses. And as you can see right there, the camera is focusing. And if I do a full press, it'll take the picture. All right, so now my finger is off and I'm going to short press to focus. I am focused. Picture. So yet another way to quickly take the phone out of your pocket, rest your finger and press it on there. You're in there, you want to focus, and take the picture. Now, I will tell you, and regardless of what you think of the camera quality on this phone, this Sony Xperia X Compact, came out in 2016 or 15. I bought it in 2016, so it is quite an old phone. And for, John and anybody else who's praising Apple for finally doing something to allow you to quickly access the camera, which again, I know it's for Vision Pro, whatever, and mixed reality. If Apple thinks the cameras are so good, what took them so long to put a dedicated button on the phone to allow you to quickly access it? Doing things on the screen is fine, whether you have to unlock it or not, that's fine. And even with this device here, when the phone is locked, you can still access the camera from the lock screen if it would focus. I have an app notification from Southwest. I don't know why. But down here in the corner, there's the camera. So, yep, you can see it. It's focused now. And even on the Sony, you can access it from the screen. So giving the user two options. One is hardware-based and one is software-based. When the screen is unlocked, yes, you have other options. You can swipe and do other stuff to access the camera. You, of course, obviously tap the app. Same thing with the iPhone, which I didn't show, but there is a camera app that you can tap. The one thing I can't show you, but I wish I could, is how Motorola has implemented an additional way to open the camera. So on the lock screen, I don't see anything down here. Not saying that you couldn't put something down there, but just the way that it came out of the box, or at least the way that my grandfather was using the phone, there's nothing there. If you swipe down, I'm sure I could rearrange icons in the notification shade, but it's not there right now. So as is, not there, but I'm sure I could rearrange some stuff. Now, this phone doesn't have the feature, but I've owned Motorola phones where they have these Moto gestures where you can either flick your wrist quickly or you can chop the phone and it'll open the camera. So with this one, like I said, it doesn't work, but you can chop the phone and the light comes on. This is a cheaper, low-end device, so doing that for the camera just isn't the way that they configured this particular model. But if you double tap again or double chop again, it turns off. So please take my word that there are Motorola phones out there that allow you to do special things with the phone in terms of movement that give you the option to open the camera. But as with the Zenfone, you can double tap the power button and it shows up. Now, the last thing that I will say about the iPhone, which somebody's going to, if you've dug into the settings, and I haven't dug into all of them because it really is about ease of access, ease of use. So with those things that I pointed out on all these phones, of course, if it's hardware based, it's going to be easy. Having a dedicated shutter button makes it easy. Again, on a phone that's almost a decade old. When you're setting up the phone, being able to open the camera with the power button, also good, especially when the power button serves as a fingerprint reader, so you're doing two things at once. But with the iPhone, in accessibility or under assistive touch or whatever it is, there's double tap. So if you double tap the back of the phone or triple tap, I think it's called back tap actually, you are given the option to select it to do stuff. So right now I have double tap to, I think, change the ringer. So let's see if that actually works. Okay, well actually it looks like double tap was taking screenshots. So it did work after a few tries. Let's do it again. So as you can see, not the most reliable thing. Now I did turn triple tap on, and triple tap is to open the camera app. So let's see if that actually works. It works. Okay, and swipe up to go away. So 2 out of 3 times right there. Can we do it one more time? Okay, and in fact, instead of me stopping at 3, if I just keep going, it opens. I guess that's a shortcut. So no less than 3 or 3 or more should open it. But there's a reason it's under accessibility instead of it being in a setting, because it's not as reliable as it should be. The same thing with the Pinchy Pinch on the new Apple Watch, whatever that's called, double tap. I think that's called double tap on the watch too. So when they finally found a way to make it more reliable, more consistent, they now market it as a feature of the watch as opposed to an assistive touch thing. So for all the people who are going to rant and rave about this capture button, it seems like John is going to enjoy it when he gets his iPhone 16 later this year. Yes, to a certain extent, these cell phone manufacturers do just copy each other. So I will never say that, oh, people need to be completely innovative every time they release a phone every year. But as you can see, the option to open the camera with hardware has been around for quite a while. And yeah, for Apple to have to release a whole nother product line, meaning the Vision Pro, for them to finally realize that putting in another button on the iPhone might be a good idea for people to quickly open the camera. Why? Why did it take so long? Also, and from what he said, it's going to, if you press it, you'll be able to record video. So will you also be able to take pictures? It wouldn't surprise me if the answer to that question was no. If Apple said, this is for shooting video only, yeah, you can focus your video and then you press it and then now you start recording video. He might have said camera or he might have said picture taking, but I think I recall him just saying recording video. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and I guess the other thing that I did want to include, and I did bring it up in another one of my videos, is that whatever you call it, a type of button that you can physically push, but then you can also interact with it in terms of swiping up and down. Not new technology. So this is the Zenfone. This is the Sony. This right here is an embedded fingerprint reader. Not currently active on this particular device, but it does have the hardware there for it to work. Here, as I've already shown, this is the lock button, power button, whatever you want to call it. So you tap it or press it to unlock, to wake the screen, and you tap it to unlock it. But as you can see here, let me see if I can actually hold the phone straight. If you swipe down on it, you can bring down the notification shade. Now, this also is not new. Even though this phone is only 2 years old, this being able to swipe on a button and get it to do stuff is not new either. I forget which phones I've had that have allowed you to take the rear mounted fingerprint reader and swipe down on that to do stuff, but it's been going on for a while. And in fact, man, I don't have it set up. Oh yeah, even on the iPhone, it's yeah. I'm glad it's not new. So even on this iPhone 7, there it is. Okay, so you have to do it twice. So even on the iPhone, not a new concept. So double swipe on it, it brings down the screen. So being able to swipe on a button to do stuff. So even in Apple's own ecosystem, in their own world, you know, what this young man is ranting and raving about is something they've been doing since the iPhone 7. Did it work before the iPhone 7? I don't know, but on the 6S, it was an actual button and it might not have worked. I'd say at earliest, it would have been the iPhone 5S because that's when we started getting Touch ID. But yeah, being able to swipe down and actually having it do something when you aren't actually pressing either an actual button or a capacitive button like that. So nothing new. I don't think it's anything to be super excited about, but people will be.